Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and this is episode number COVID-19 2020. Fill in the panty in your belly. Yeah, this is super crazy. I'm not going to lie. I think this is really crazy. So I just wanted to do a quick update episode. We're not going to do an episode on Monday. We are just going to try and keep people updated as we can over this time period where we're all being quarantined. I wanted to give everybody some work to do so they can do something while they're sitting in their house and not go stir crazy. I want to also give you some updates on show business and what's happening and where we are right now currently. Okay, so let's start with what I think we should be doing in March. So I got a lot of requests for people to do Self-Tape May, but do it in March. The reason I have Self-Tape May in May is because I really feel like, generally speaking, May is a really depressing time in show business because commercials are usually shut down. There's television is not running. You're going and seeing family members for like weddings or family vacations, things like that. And the adrenaline that you had in the new year has sort of started to settle. And you're looking at like the first half of your year and, you know, feeling all the feelings that you have about your progress or lack of progress that you might have in the year coming in May. I also wanted it to be in May because, you know, I really think that we should have an understanding of being in audition routine when we have our life going on. So sometimes, you know, you have your jobs and you have crazy things happening and you're busy, you know, doing all of your like life stuff, and then you get an audition. And like, do you have this time, energy, and money to have some space for audition opportunities? So that is another reason I want it to stay in May. So we're going to keep it in May. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to do Market Research March. Market Research March. So this is a really great way to spend this time when you're in quarantine, which is a crazy thing to say, but here we are, and be watching shows, but watching them with some intention and purpose in a way that's going to set you up for your Self-Tape May. Now, I also want to say, if you don't feel like doing Market Research March, you don't have to do Market Research March. If you need to like do some real like Netflix and chill and just like watch things that have nothing to do with anything you'll ever be cast in, I want to super encourage you to do that. You know, stress is not super great for the creative process. Please take care of yourself. Please take naps. Please wash your hands. Please do whatever you can do to sort of get your adrenal glands to calm down. That said, if you want some purpose for these couple of weeks, Jesse and I have gone ahead. It's on our Instagram link. So on Instagram, you're going to see on the link under the profile, it has a link to Hollywood Reporter's top 50 showrunners. So this is one of the things that I really wish that somebody had taught me. Here I was learning all these playwrights, which are a part of our history, and they're the great people of all time. But I wish that I had also been researching showrunners, because those are our current modern creators. The geniuses of our current now are these showrunners. So what I want you to do is you can click on that and start researching showrunners. But what I recommend is that you do it per your market. So on Instagram as well, there's a video with me in a hat on. It's one of the most recent posts. And if you swipe left on it, you'll see that we've divided a lot of those showrunners up between what locations they mostly shoot in. So there's a giant chunk that is some showrunners who shoot shows everywhere. I would really know as many of those as you can. I think it's advantageous. These are like our prolific, just juggernaut showrunners. This is somebody like David E. Kelley, who's got, you know, decades in this business. And he is the executive producer on all the Chicago shows. He's also done a ton of work in New York, in Los Angeles. His pilot is currently, I don't know if it's still going, shooting in New Mexico. So he's just somebody to know. And a showrunner is somebody who sets the tone of the show. Sometimes they're the writers. They're like the head writer of the show. Sometimes they're the person who is just sort of managing the show and making sure that it's on like a particular trajectory and path. So that when you're talking about knowing a show and knowing whether or not you're right for a show, this is really important work to do. So what I'd like for everyone to do is find some showrunners and ideally find some of the showrunners in your market. So we've divided them up: Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, New Mexico, Canada. We didn't do Chicago, and that's only because Chicago doesn't really seem to have a showrunner that's like just in Chicago, but Chicago's showrunners are in the everywhere section. So if you're in Chicago, look at the everywhere section. And if you find anybody that's specifically Chicago, please send me a little message and let me know. So you just pick a showrunner and you just ask yourself, are you familiar with them? Are you familiar with their work? Google them. What do they look like? Are there interviews with them that you can listen to in podcast form on the internet? What other stuff have they watched or created? Don't just look at the stuff that they are currently doing, but what is the history of their work? And familiarize yourself with their work and sort of ask yourself, am I right for any of this? And then if you see a role that you think you would be right for, if you see something that you think is interesting, then I would take this moment to transcribe it and then hold on it. And then that's going to be your self-tape made material. I think that's a really great way to work so that you're not just working on making sure you can do self-tapes, but maybe more deliberately practicing certain showrunners and their style and their essence and their tone. Because the way that you would do maybe one playwright is not the same way that you would do the other playwright. They would maybe have a different style of acting or of directing or of being. And that's the same thing with showrunners, okay? So for me, I'll talk about some showrunners that I really trooper love. I love Shonda Rhimes. I love Ryan Murphy. I really love Chuck Lorre. I'm a huge fan of, there's all kinds of people that, this is LA, Norman Lear, Mike Judge, Alec Berg, Dan Fogelman, Mike Schur has a new pilot that just came out that he just had happen that I'm really excited about. Lorda Miller, Issa Rae, Sam Levinson, like there's so much. Krista Vernoff, like I love them. And if you were to say to me, oh, this new show is happening, and I would be like, oh, who's the showrunner? And you were going to say, oh, that's, Krista Vernoff, or that's Chuck Lorre, or that's Norman Lear. I already have a sense of what that is. So I hope that's helpful to you. This is a really exciting time to binge on some of the great works of our time and get familiar with our current, modern, great, prolific creators. Okay, so that's Market Research March. If you are doing that work, what I would love for you to do is if you're on social media, take a picture of it, do a snapshot, and then tag us, Market Research March, and let us know some things that you're learning. So found my showrunner in New Mexico. I just love Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, binging through season 1 through 4 of Better Call Saul. Hashtag Market Research March. And then you can also let us know what kinds of roles you think you'd be really good for. I would love that sort of information. I'm also going to participate. I'm super excited. There's a lot of people on that list that I wasn't as familiar with. So there's a lot of work that I'm excited to do to learn who to focus on and what sort of creatives are creating content that not only am I excited by, but that I think my particular look and work and tone and casting that Audrey naturally brings is a really good fit. I'm always looking for more people to be a creative match with. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for Market Research March. Then what I would recommend doing is let's talk about what to do during this pandemic and to be healthy, to be safe, to be capable, to take care of yourself. So please sleep. Please take care of yourself. Make sure you have groceries. If you have an ability to do work, that's something that's good to take your mind off of it. If you are a person who can work professionally from home in your day job, on your computer, that's great. If you are still having to go into your job, then go to your job. You will not feel bad about that time that you are spending, a little bit distracted and having some other things to think about. And just, take care of yourself, take care of each other, be kind. There are a couple of live streams on Instagram that I posted under my story. If they're not on my story anymore, then I'm going to try to post them under the it's not my story, it's like saved stories. That way I talk a lot about why I think market research is really important and some of the major snafus that you can say I did in my younger years that are embarrassing and really taught me the lesson of you think that you're doing all the work that you should be doing when it regards to knowing a show until you realize you weren't. And I've had those experiences. So I love you guys. I know that now is a crazy time. Take care of yourselves. I'm sending you all lots of love. Let's be kind to each other, stay inspired, and now more than ever, don't forget your towel.